Here's recording. It's catchy.
Very. It's a radio hit.
Alrighty.
So, we don't really know what to call it. Don't really know what we're doing here, but fuck it. Sitting here with Mr. Dane G and TACYON.
Excuse me?
So we sitting here with the world's greatest DJ / music producer, TACYON.
It's TACYON.
Oh.
There. So you don't forget.
maybe like a, oh, what is this, a wristband? It's a name tag?
Yeah, it just says my name.
Ooh. Little Easter egg.
Shout out Rachel. Making those.
TACYON. All right, guys. So, what's up? How was your Thanksgiving?
It's long. Helped my parents move. It was kind of a lot, honestly. But it was good. Good food.
Yeah. Yeah. Get a little food coma action going.
Where'd they move from?
They moved like 20 minutes across town. We were living in Northville, and then they moved to an even snobbier place called Canton. And it's different. It's not Northville.
Wait, I know Canton. Wait, I didn't know that place was snobby though.
A lot of Mercedes, a lot of Ferraris. It's different.
Yeah. Just like East Michigan style.
It's like East Grand Rapids, honestly, but less small towny.
So that's the house that your parents are just like, fuck it, I got everybody out of the house.
No,
It's
that's
like
where they
time.
moved into. They moved into Canton.
Right, they were just waiting to get rid of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
What do they do for a living?
My parents are both retired.
Nice.
I know.
What did they do?
So they both worked for Ford for like forever, and then my dad switched jobs in '08 during the and then he worked for GE, and then got my brother a job at GE. So I'm the only unemployed in the family.
You're not unemployed.
You're right. Thank you, Dane.
Stay on that grind.
Hey,
He's a very important asset to Shit Show Studios.
would you say I'm number 2?
I would say if I'm number 1,
Yeah, I was just.
you would be taking up the number 2 spot.
Can we
Love
please
that.
explain this structure? Because I'm still confused
I
about
think
it.
Dane's gotta take that one. It's his vision.
What structure?
Just shit show.
The structure of Shit Show.
In general? Do I have to explain it right now, like the whole thing?
Well, I mean,
Can I do a little can I preface it a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think, like, the whole Shit Show Studios, it's Dane's brainchild, and I think, because there's been a few other people that have been around, coming around, I won't say names, who had ideas for different things, like maybe like a bus. That's just an idea, but like with ideas that didn't really seem so reachable or goals that seemed obtainable. I feel like what Dane has done is like structure something that is like real, that I think could actually happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely the driving force behind Shit Show. But still just trying to understand more of that vision, more of the future. Like, let's just not even say, like, let's not even talk about your 5-year plan, but let's just talk about upcoming stuff.
Oh,
What do we got? What do we got?
You want to just hear like upcoming stuff, or do you want me to go through like how we started and like how we want to be? Or
that's what I want to hear. I want to hear how this started in Dane's mind, if that's cool.
No, it is. I definitely want to hear both. So
I'll do the quick version of both.
Okay.
So when I first moved to Grand Rapids, or the greater Grand Rapids area, I knew from high school, in high school, okay, I want to get into the music scene in Grand Rapids, like right off the bat. But come to find out, when I moved to college, it seemed kind of like the same old like monotonous thing, like on the campus. Like no one really played music, and when they did, they were either like a DJ DJing house parties, or some like pretentious acoustic guitar kid, performing
Around a fire.
Around a fire in front of buildings, barefooted, kind of just I couldn't really break into the scene. And I heard good things about the city, Grand Rapids, musically, and I didn't know like where it was or how to get there. And then we fast forward to when I'm about to graduate college and I move downtown. in the center of downtown Grand Rapids. And I meet some dudes who are really good musicians. We start a band, a pretty heavy post-hardcore band. And so some of them being too young to play at bars, I was like, well, maybe our first show, like we should just host. Like it'll be our debut. And at this time, I had started meeting some more musicians around the city. So I hosted the shit show in my house, and lo and behold, like 100 people showed up to my house, and we built like a stage in the living room, and it just got super wild. People were like diving off the stage, they were jumping off my stairs, and I don't know, I made this
Pre-corona.
Yeah, pre-corona, way pre-COVID. And I think I just made a lot of really good connections, kind of made like a pretty good, punk rock kind of name for myself.
I miss watching you perform live, I'm not gonna lie.
And
like downtown.
From there on, I mean, yeah, I just kind of started staying in bands and performing in bands. And Grand Rapids is a weird place because if you're not playing almost exactly the same thing as someone else is playing, or if you're like not in the same scene, or if you're just like not as big as someone else, people tend to kind of avoid you and kind of stay in their own little bubble. And so like the name came from the shit show concert that I held in my house. But I thought, what if I created a platform where unheard artists and heard of artists can come to me and like release shit through. And
it's a label.
Yeah, and I imagined it as some sort of like kind of fucked up, like edgy NPR music. That's kind of like how I envisioned it. But like being able to express a lot more openly, nowadays everybody listens to all genres, right? Mm-hmm. People listen to all kinds of genres.
I still don't listen to country.
Most of us don't.
Yeah.
But I want everyone to be able to find what they're looking for under the same roof. Like it would be cool if we had like metal bands and hip hop musicians and hardcore bands and indie bands and acoustic musicians all under the same platform, and you're able to find something you like from any of those kinds of music. And I think that's what I'm trying to do.
So would you classify Shit Show Studios as strictly music label? Like, do you ever plan to get into like actually like art as like a greater umbrella? Well, like, would you do like visual?
When Connor and I first started talking about, so like how the label actually ended up getting launched was when everyone got shut down and no one was going to work because of COVID. I kind of just locked myself in my room and ordered a bunch of audio equipment off of Amazon, which was way over my budget, and I shouldn't have been ordering that during Corona, but I did.
Got that government money.
And I made a whole album all by myself in my room, and then I was showing Connor and I was showing Dave, and Dave like wanted to help me master it. And Connor was like, hey, well, I've been doing a lot of audio myself. And he started showing me songs, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, how the fuck? I never knew that you were this good at like making beats and shit.
Ooh, right.
And then he was basically like, well, fuck, like, let's start working together. And me and him and Dave started meeting up every week, and we're like, dude, let's just make a music label. Like, we have everything we need right here. Like, we have a producer, we have an audio engineer, and the two musicians. Me, Dave, like, I sing, Dave plays drums, I play guitar and bass. Connor produces, Dave can, like, do audio engineering. Like, we had everything we needed at that point. And kind of just started, like, Dave's a very talented jazz drummer who also plays in a heavy rock band.
Very talented.
Yeah, and his whole band are very cool and talented guys as well. So he spread the word to them, they spread the word to a few people. I'm also in a post-hardcore band. I spread the word to them, they spread the word to a few people. And just, friends who are here and there also, like, joined up and wanted to, help us out and be a part of this.
Yeah, I think, and art comes with that too, like you were saying, Tellus. Like, I've been having people that I've met in high school that I haven't talked to, like, doing graphic design and shit.
Right.
Just for the, like, like album art. So.
It's really crazy, like, the total spectrum of art that's possible, because literally you could form like faces of people like Kid Cudi out of like quarters or something, and that could literally be a new style of art. Like
Yeah.
you always see like these crazy Facebook videos of people trying to go to new levels with their art. So like I definitely respect the game. TACYON, I kind of want to like
It's TACYON.
TACYON, dude. I'm not gonna get it right. I'm 2 beers deep, so I'm hammered already.
You should get it right.
Oh
It's
my
TACYON. I make ice cold bass music right here in Grand Rapids.
He does, dude.
TACYON.
And so like I don't
Tashin.
understand though. This man's trajectory has
Is that
been
still
like
going
a
over there?
hockey stick.
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay.
This man's trajectory has been a hockey stick. It really started like I saw him during like the COVID pandemic and like literally he showed me some stuff at the beginning of it. It was like not, I mean, it was like what you would expect from like someone who's just starting. And then like 3 months later, you show me some other stuff, and I'm just like, wait, how?
Well, I had a lot of time on my hands. We were in lockdown. You know, it was pretty quick though. I mean, it was in March. So it's November now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Something that's I think is pretty cool that we stuck to what we said we were gonna do. You know, we said we were gonna release an album for you late November, early December, and it's literally happening.
This
We
Friday.
have videos out that we said we were gonna put out that we actually put out. You know, there's so many times people try to start something up and they just kind of like lose steam really quickly.
Right. And I think and people like local artists are coming and actually showing up to do these videos that we ask them to do and stuff. I think it's pretty cool.
It's really hard, honestly, right now, especially right now with the spike in COVID. Like, everybody's being very safe and very skeptical, which is making it very hard to create art and videos with other people. You know, I was actually talking to an artist that I'm working with, and he's like, I don't know if the process is like going fast enough for me. And, you know, I didn't really know what to say. Like, I wanted to basically be like, hey, people are sketched out because of COVID and we're trying our best, but, you know, there's only so much I can do.
Right.
Especially when I'm contacting people all day long about that kind of shit.
Damn, I feel like we got all the noises going on around. I wonder if the audio is picking this up.
Nah,
There's a
maybe in
train.
the background, but it'll probably just pick us up for the most part.
Yeah, I think it's just picking this up.
But you were talking about where do we want to go?
Yeah, what we got
as far
planned
as
too.
as far as are we just doing music? Is it just a music label? So I kind of planned like our launch to be like in phases. So like the first couple or first 3 phases were just gonna be music and videos, but then within those phases, shortly fading in interviews or podcasts or skits, you know. And eventually, I want Shit Show just to become an all-around kind of DIY like entertainment thing.
Right.
You know, if someone has a good idea, I want to, and they like feel very passionate about it, and they're willing to put in the hard work to put out consistent content, then yeah, I want to do it. You know,
Yeah.
as long as it's like vibing with the rest of us, like yeah, let's do it.
I think, and not to like, but I think, you know, Dane, your work ethic sometimes, it's like you're like here, then there, like doing a bunch of different artists, filming this, filming that. It's kind of crazy. I don't know how you do it.
Thanks,
I wake
man.
up at noon, you know, and watch some TV and they maybe make a beat and you've already been like, no, I've been filming since like 9.
Well, sometimes I wake up at noon too, but then I end up staying up till like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's my best time too, is like midnight to 4 hours.
I've always felt like really weird about when I want to do something or when I want to pursue something. I've always felt like weird, like I'm like fucking watching Breaking Bad. I should be,
Yeah.
you know, I should
Oh,
be on
wow,
the
yeah.
piano right now. I should be on the guitar. I should be like writing new songs. And I think like that like anxiety or like whatever that is like kind of helps me a lot. Like,
Yeah.
like I want my mind to be occupied with like, that's why like when I read, I always read like the classics. So like I have something of worth. Like if I'm gonna spend all that time, you know, I come out of it on the other side with
And
something.
I noticed too, like in your room, you have a whiteboard, and it just says right now, it says finish whatever book you're reading, like
Yeah.
classic. It's like
Yeah.
you have like a deadline for yourself.
Yeah,
for that
kind
book.
of like a loose deadline.
It just says finish it. I'm like, damn.
Did you go through a period where it was kind of like you wanted to do things, but you really didn't get into it? You had all these ideas and you didn't really like. How did you like transition from that if you did have like that period of time? Like what was like the you know the needle that broke the camel's back?
I think the most aggravating thing for me was having all this shit that I want to do and it's finally like kind of like coming, through fruition. But like I had this idea of starting a label, and I had this idea of like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be like an artist that makes like fun pop indie like acoustic music, but also on the side I'm gonna have this like, super heavy hardcore band where I can get rowdy on stage with. And it was weird that I've always had a lot of these like thoughts, like especially in college and in high school, and I could never like capitalize on any of them. It was just kind of like, these are things I wish I could do with my life. And finally at the age of like 25 and 26, I like started really pushing and making shit happen. I mean, I've been in bands, obviously, like you and them, right? Like it took me long enough, right? Like I don't know how it happened.
It's that dirty 30 is knocking at the door.
I guess just the dedication and just like not like giving up on myself, like kind of like kept me going. I mean, nowadays 30 is the new 21 in my mind.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
Right. I mean,
It's knocking on my door.
I'll probably be in the club until I'm 50.
I guess like if I had to,
I'll be there with you.
if I end up with some sort of like financial or accredited like success for what I did, and maybe like my advice, not that I should be giving any right now, but maybe my advice would end up being like, if you really want to do something, just like stay true to it and like don't let it,
I mean, yeah, it's like for me especially, like I was just solo dolo doing this music stuff. Not like I've known you, Dane, for a long time now. You too, tell us. But like I knew you made music, but like when I first started, I was just kind of doing it alone, and like it wasn't until I really like, it was the beat for money. You heard that, and that's kind of really where it all went from. But like if like without that, like I don't really know what I'd be doing right now. Like I don't know if I'd have a mixtape to put out even. I didn't really have like I didn't have the know-how. I didn't know what to do.
Do you ever feel like pressure or anxiety like when you're dedicating a lot of time to like playing music and like figuring out your music stuff, as opposed to like starting a career and making a good life and a retirement for yourself?
Well, honestly, not really. Like when I'm making a beat, I just like, I could spend hours or the entire day on it, and I would feel at the end of the day like that was a good day. My parents might disagree. They might be like, why weren't you looking for, a job?
Right.
Or anyone, they'd be like, you should have been looking for, if you spent that much time looking for a job, you'd probably have one.
How much money did you make off it?
Yeah, right.
How much money did you make off your work today?
Right.
Do you make money off it?
That's one thing, is like until there is money being made, it's like not a valid pursuit. But I think that'll come with time. And
But that's like crazy. That's like a crazy concept to have.
It is.
Because like if you don't make shit for like 10 years, let's say, but then in the 11th year you make like $11 million.
Right.
Then you've technically averaged like $1 million over like those years.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely not my view. I think that's more of a parent view. Like until you start raking in money.
Right. Because you gotta pay bills.
But exactly. You gotta pay bills.
And like for me, I purposely like work. On my job, I work about 30 hours a week, and my long-term plan was I'll get my master's, eventually my PhD, and I'll, have.
Are you gonna get your PhD?
I'll have hopefully one day. But like the whole thing was I chose to take a job where I only work 30 hours because I can support myself off that, but I'm always going to have free time to work on music and tour with the band.
Right.
Like if we have a show Thursday through Sunday, I will be able to play it no matter what. If we have band practice at 7 at night on a weekday, I'm going to be able to be there. If we have our producers meeting like we do every week, we talking about what we've been working on all week, I'm going to be able to be there. And I set that time aside, whatever originally I think it was like 2 years. I think we're going on like year 3 now.
Right.
Yeah.
So then do you favor like the idea of like having a job and then just doing your side gig on the side until it becomes your main gig?
No, I personally believe my job and what I do is for my survival, while music and creativity is for more of like for my spirit, like it's my calling, Like you have to do things to survive, right? You have to eat, you gotta shit, You gotta, walk around and not lay in bed all day. Like, if these are things you have to do if you want to survive. Making money in our, in
Right.
this day and age is just something you have to do to be alive.
Right.
Trying to feel alive.
And then
Right, but there are like, I don't know, I feel like there are also people who don't really like go the job route and just try to do straight music to
Right.
like have it be their job.
Right.
And I don't necessarily have an opinion on whether
Well-
which approach is better.
I guess for me, like, it's just kind of like I did get a master's degree,
Right.
and I do want to use it, but at the same time, if this music thing does like blow up, I would much rather do that.
Right. That's true.
But I did get a master's degree, and I obviously, if I went that far, I had a like passion in it, or like I liked it.
Another thing like musicians have to realize is if you're serious about your craft and you think it's something you want to do and dedicate, if you want music to end up being your full-time job, like if that's your goal and you want to dedicate 40 plus hours a week to doing music, you have to understand you have to treat yourself like a small business. And you have to treat everything you're doing like the products that you make for your small business.
Mm-hmm.
Small businesses, they advertise. Small businesses have social media profiles. They have websites. They have
They provide
They have
products
a-
and services.
they provide products and services. They have revenue. They think of ways to create revenue for themselves. I think so many people are like, it's about the music, man. Like, I just want to play music, man. And that's true. That's 100% like true, but you're not going to be able to do that if you can't support it. I couldn't
Right.
have, bought this microphone if I didn't have a job.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Or if Connor wasn't here to like lend me money to buy it in the first place either. Like,
Right. But I mean, I think you're exactly right. Like, I don't think if I just continued to put shit out on SoundCloud, I don't think anything would have come of it.
most of the time it doesn't. It happens to some people and it's very rare.
Since March, I have maybe 100 plays across all the songs I have on SoundCloud. Whereas we put out one single that you heavily promoted, and it's at 700 plays today.
Yeah,
like,
we're almost
in
at
like a week.
1,000. I feel live already, which
Yeah.
is cool.
In like 2 weeks, one song we almost got 1,000 plays, and I have 60 monthly listeners now. Not to brag. I know
60?
that's nothing.
You
but
got 60?
60.
That's good.
I think it's just a sharp peak right now, and then it'll quickly
think one
dive
thing-
off.
I think
we've hit our
if
max.
Feel Alive taught us anything, especially when comparing that to me just releasing almost a whole album,
Mm-hmm.
I think if Feel Alive taught us anything, it's that the shorter the project, the more plays you're going to get on that individual
Yeah,
project.
for sure.
Right? Because my album, I think, total has about 600 plays.
Mm-hmm.
However, each of the songs, I would say, average about 100 plays.
Right.
So whatever there was, I think there was 8 songs in one skit, or 7 songs in one skit. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the whole promotion side, which is
Right.
stuff that I'm
That
not
too.
good at.
That too.
And it's like
Which is why we're doing Shit Show, is because we want to
Exactly.
help people promote their shit.
exactly. Short break. Little interlude.
Short break. Let's play Feel Alive.
Yeah, let's play for the people.
Yeah, throw it on.
I'll put it in there.
I'm going to eat some sushi while you put it on.
Okay.
He says, a fully grown cat, but still lit with everything that makes a cat is in the king. So when God put man on the face of the earth, everything that says like God was given. But when he came, the
Drop it down my throat. Here we go. Heartbeats on the tip of my tongue. I'm feeling numb. My feelings numb. Just trying to trying to feel alive. Trying to feel alive. Coming frown like a clown. I see my world flipped upside down. I need more, please give me more, 'cause I need it the most. Yeah, I need it the most. I need more, I need more. Coming down, breaks me down. I'm so lost in the sound. I feel so down, trying to feel alive. Just trying to feel alive.
All right, so that was Feel Alive by TACYON.
Oh, you got my name right.
Let's go. I improve.
Thank you.
So yeah, man. When did you, over what time span did you like create this? Is it an EP that you're dropping?
Yeah, I guess, right? And mixtape,
Mixtape,
probably.
album,
It's
mixtape.
9 songs. You know?
Was it while you were learning how to like, working with Ableton and?
Yeah, so I mean, so there's one song on it that has a beat that I made. It's one of the first things I ever made in Ableton. Like that's not obviously now there's a lot more to it now that I know the program, but like the core of the entire beat I made in like mid-March when I first downloaded Ableton, just super simple. So it does span, I mean, including that, it's just stuff I've been making since March.
Okay.
When I first downloaded. I mean, I downloaded Ableton in like late February and didn't really open it until like it's like mid-March when we got put on lockdown
Yeah,
and just started.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, is your like how do I put this? Like, so has your process been at all? I'm like trying to distinguish if you've been like artsy during out the like creation of this like EP,
Well,
or was it more so?
are you asking like what my creative process is?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Like, do you tend to like, I don't know, have a feeling or be in a mood in a single day, and then that inspires you to create something, or is it more just like you're kind of like fucking around and then you're just like, oh, that sounded cool.
Yes, that. I think I just fuck around until something sounds dope. For me, like the beat making process is like grueling. Like I like making a beat with someone. Like, I don't think we've ever sat and made a fresh beat together, Dane. Like from
Not many
from
if we have.
scratch.
Not
I'm
many
saying
if
like
we
there's
have.
usually an idea already made, or something that we can work off of. But like to get like a beat going for me, it's solitude and just fucking around. I can't do it with other people. I mean, I do, but like the original ideas, and I never like they come at the weirdest times, I swear. It'll be like I'll be working on something super hard and it'll sound like shit, and then I'll open a new project and put something together really quick. I think you saw that, Tellus. I think we made a beat together in like minutes.
I've definitely seen you make some beats, and
Yeah, and that's rare. Like that's not something that is like doesn't happen every day. You know, a lot of stuff I work on, I just never even gets played for anyone, you know.
right, it doesn't happen every day, but is it happening more often? Like, will you ever get to a point where it's kind of just like you can bloop?
I don't think so. I don't think I'll ever get to that point. I think it's like, for me, the like making a beat is like, I don't know. It's just kind of like an organic thing. I don't think I'll ever be able to just like, I don't think I'll get to a point where I'm good enough that I can just make a beat out of nowhere from nothing. You know, I think it'll just come like it does right now at 2 a.m. when I'm just chilling here.
Right.
And a lot of it did come like learning the software. That was the biggest thing. Because Ableton has a crazy high learning curve. It's like you need Ableton to make the music, but it's also the thing that can prevent you from making it. Because it's complicated, you know? And the more I learn about Ableton, and a lot of that comes from Dave. Dave is a great teacher. He shows me little tricks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And those little things, like, you know, you could have an idea and you know what you want something to sound like, but you don't know how to get it to sound like
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about making music in the context of a DAW, like a music software. The
Right.
hardest part is to, I guess, get it to a point that it sounds like worthy of being deemed like professional in quality.
Yeah.
Because if you look at any kid who like wants to record their guitar riff or their drum track, like just like with GarageBand or Logic or something, it's immediately clipping. Like they're in the red at least like 5 or over.
Yeah.
And which is funny, like there's so much you got to know just to make your ideas. Like you can have like a fundamental idea and then you have to do all this extra bullshit in order to get it out, like, and have
especially
it be how
like
it is for
like
real.
where I started, like I didn't even know what clipping was at first.
Yeah.
I have no idea what
You
that
know,
is.
like,
what is that? What is
It's
clipping?
so like if you are making something in a DAW, and it's like you have its own individual channel, and then it's being sent to the master track, which is then being sent to your speakers, more or less. And if you clip, that means it is exceeding the max, like, I don't know, help me out here.
So
There's like a level that you don't want to
Dave would
exceed.
explain this
Yeah,
a
Dave
lot
would know.
better.
And this shows like I don't really still even know. This is embarrassing.
like clipping is like, honestly, it's like what an output can handle. So if you're going above like what an output like can traditionally handle, like your music's gonna sound like shit. It's gonna just sound like a potato. You know,
Yeah.
like you ever look on music software or really anything, like a lot of things have this, and it's got the green bar going up and down.
Yeah.
Like when the audio's going into it. Well, when that bar goes into the red, that means like, hey, your recording is way too loud, or it's way too distorted, or
Right.
something is going on to where this is not going to be
Or like
to its full potential, because we're going to have to, like, an audio, like whatever you're playing through, whatever system you're playing through is just going to chop it.
Right.
And it's just going to make it that wave. It's like, here's our max. Where our maximum wave can be. It can't exceed that. So if your waves are exceeding that, we're just going to chop it off, and it's going to sound like shit.
yeah, and it's like when we had Farewell Fest and you had that big, that big PA system that dude had. I forget his name. But like I always, and I don't know if this is true or not, but like I make sure none of my stuff is clipping, and simply because like if it was played over a loud PA system, it could potentially blow it, right?
Well,
Unless you have the certain like safeguards in place.
I mean, sometimes even when that happens, the weird thing is your music is even quieter because the system itself is saying,
Right.
like this raw audio, way too loud.
Yeah, right.
So it's going to compress it in a way. And honestly, like we could go back to this conversation in like a year or half a year and be like, God damn it, we were so stupid.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
we
yeah,
were
yeah.
not explaining that correctly.
No.
But like, I mean, that's kind of like a rough idea.
But
I guess.
it just goes to show like there's a lot to know.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing this very long. I look to Dave especially for Ableton advice, because he's been using the software since like 2014, Dave. Like he's been using it a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, he's been using Ableton for a while.
Right, I've been using it for like 8 months.
Back when I first got Ableton, like in like 2014,
Mhm.
Dave already had it.
Right. And like I know kids that this kid I went to high school with, he's been using Ableton for like 10 years now. And I was talking to him about it, and he agrees, just like understanding what the software is doing, what you're doing, and how it affects the sound is crucial.
I mean, think about like I made that album in July. Think about how much we've learned together since then.
Yeah, I agree. Like when we were working on Money, you know, I feel like the amount that I know now is nothing. Is like so much more compared to what I
Yeah.
knew when we started that. You know.
That's actually interesting. So, like, would you say that maybe learning from actually being in the software, working on an actual project is better? Like, you learn more from that experience than maybe like a YouTube video or something?
I mean, 100%. Like I think I didn't go to school for this. I didn't have anyone teaching me how to use Ableton, and I think a lot of what I know now came from the frustration of not knowing what the fuck like the software did.
And there's always something you want to do, like,
Yeah.
and you know exactly what you want to do, so you have to look up like a minute to 6 minute long
Exactly.
YouTube video. But that also comes from using the program and running into that problem
Yes.
rather than like knowing how to fix it before it even happens.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, and if I was being taught traditionally, like in a classroom, how to use the software, I would encounter these problems before I even, if I did it organically, like on my own. They teach us problems and how to fix them, where I feel like running into them on your own, really like getting into the software. I think people go to school for it and it's like, awesome thing. But I'm just saying, like, for me anyway, the frustration of not knowing how to use it, it kind of, like, gave me a lot of the skills that I have with it today.
I feel that. Would you ever teach a master class?
If they wanted me to, hell yeah. But I don't think I'm by far a master at Ableton.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Dead Mouse's master
Yeah.
class on producing, and that was balls insane. Like,
Right.
Yeah, that's what
he's so good. He's got like 64 channels.
Yeah,
like,
he just
in that
doesn't care.
bitch.
He's just like, yeah, you just do this.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah. And I mean, I would love Connor. I would love myself to be at that point one day. Like, you'd probably get there quicker than I would, but like,
Yeah.
still, like, there's a lot. Like, this shit takes years and years to understand how it works.
I know for a fact I'm not even utilizing all of Ableton. There's no way
Right.
I am. There's parts of it that I don't even know. There's buttons I've never pressed. How about that? There's things I've never clicked on. You know?
Yeah,
Um,
sounds like a big program. I'm just trying to understand, like, would you ever teach? Because, like, I imagine from what you've explained that you probably, like, have something that you want to do, but you don't know how to do it. You type it in on YouTube, and the video doesn't exist.
Yeah, more often than not, it doesn't exist.
And so, would you see that as an opportunity to, like, produce a video, like, saying, like, how to get past this problem? Because if you're experiencing it, it's quite possible that other people are experiencing it, right?
Right. I don't really I don't think there's any like trick around it. I think you just have to work with it enough to then be able to use it, you know?
Can you maybe, bouncing off of that, talk about the shit show YouTube video series you want to do for your, like, how it's made sort of thing?
Yes, yeah. So I was thinking like it would be really cool to shoot a video of me, like a song I've already made, and a lot of things that I do make, I take pride in this. Like I make, like, most of the sounds that you hear in all my shit is like original. I make it in the wavetable synth in Ableton from scratch. It starts with a sine wave, and then comes and makes it to this crazy sound. And I think it'd be cool to like do short. I don't think that would be very long, but like a 5-10 minute video about like how I made a sound from a certain song.
Right.
You
Like,
know?
people who are novice in like recording music, like, would maybe watch that, but also people who are curious maybe how you made a specific sound,
Yes.
or what process you use to make your music, because everybody's process is different. Some people use like all just MIDI keyboard. You use synthesizers and guitar pedals and compressors and shit.
Yeah. No, I think it would be really cool because sound design is something that I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like starting off, you open it's called Ableton. It's called Wavetable. There's other ones out there like forgetting the names of them now, but it's just you start off with a basic sine wave. It just sounds like whoo, and then from there you just like shape it and mold it in different ways to get whatever sound you want, really. And recently I have been getting, I mean, you can see my desk. I have all these analog synths that I've been really getting into. And that, I mean, that shit's crazy. Yeah. That's a whole different topic, but, you know, I think that'd be a cool idea for YouTube.
Curious.
Mm-hmm.
What genre is Tacyon's music?
It's a great question because I have no idea, you know.
Let's start by asking, what genre do you think is your mixtape?
Okay, so I think a lot of it, more or less, I think it stems, I just call it bass music. You know, I wouldn't, it's not really EDM, I wouldn't say, but it's just like, I really do enjoy like a thick bass sound. Sounds weird, but like, you know, that's why I have all this equipment dedicated to bass noises alone. Like this is a analog bass synthesizer. Only job is to make a bass sound. And a lot of my music, I think, especially on this mixtape coming out, the core of it is, you know, heavy bass sounds, which I imagine takes the place of like someone singing. You know, like it kind of fills that space where there's a beat and then there's kind of like underneath it is this like intense bass line. Whereas I could remove that and have someone singing or rapping over it, you know?
Yeah.
I always kind of characterized your music to other people as like some sort of hip hop Daft Punk.
Yeah. It's kind of like glitch hop, I
Yeah.
think is a term for it. It's like, I don't know, because I do like trap beats. Trap beats are my favorite. I love a good kick, like a solid snare to like set the tone and then have all the rest of it come through.
Who are your, like, during the time period where you were working on your mixtape, like for the last whatever, like 4 or 5 months, who are your like most influential musicians that you were listening to, or that like influenced your music, or that you got ideas from, or made you want to make more music? Like, who are those influential musicians?
For sure, I'd say there's 3
Okay.
that really, really stand out. Thriftworks, Of the Trees, he calls himself. He's from Maine. And then Tie-Dye Kai. Those are
Tie-Dye
the
Kai
3.
is cool. You were showing me. Tie-Dye.
Yeah. I think they all have like, and you know, like, Of the Trees at least, he's EDM music. Bass music as well. Like, I don't really know how to describe it, but like Tie-Dye Kai, I think is really, he played a really important role in this music because like he somehow incorporates like this indie like hip hop type style with EDM. He mixes the two, and it's kind of crazy, but it works. It's really good. But yeah, I'd say those 3 are definitely the most influential.
Nice.
So would you say you favor experimentation then?
100%. I think most of the shit comes from me just fucking around in here, and
Damn, you're like a scientist.
yeah, I mean, I call this the lab. You know, and this
Right.
is my lab. You know, I mean, look at all this stuff. I don't even know what most of it does still, honestly.
Yo, that's the one crazy thing about you, dude. You have like a bunch of stuff. I feel like,
COVID money.
yeah. This is just like symptoms of an addictive personality or something.
Well, I do that for sure. I get obsessed with things, and I mean, I posted on the TACYON Instagram the progression of my home studio. You know that? And it's just like started off with just a laptop with Ableton, and then, I mean, pretty rapidly grew. You know.
What is your favorite song on your album or mixtape?
I think a consistent favorite is Apple Cider.
Why?
I think it's the most musical thing I've ever done, because every sound in that song is original. It was all made. I made it from scratch. Every sound you hear in that song, and then also just kind of like it has a nice melody, you know. And that's something I've always kind of struggled with, is like making like catchy melodies, I guess, in songs. And I think that one is kind of catchy. I think Dave said it would be a great car commercial, and I agree. It's kind of funny if you listen to it, but you know.
Have you released that one yet, or is that still?
No,
to be,
no, that's still just.
Is Feel Alive the only song from your mixtape or EP that you've released?
Yep. So I mean, yeah, that's the only one. The rest, most people haven't heard, honestly. So.
Gotta keep
Other
it
than you
exclusive.
guys.
How hard is that? Like the whole like keeping it exclusive, because like as we've been saying, we've been building like a structure around something that we really don't know, and so like you're hanging around like a lot of the same people all the time, and like you're putting in time to like make this EP. So like
Yes.
I gotta imagine it's hard not to talk about it.
Well, with people that I made it with, or like people that I see often, like you, and like, I mean, Dane hears everything I make. I send it to him, or I see him every week, and I just play it. But like, I have no problem showing, like, I'd play you my whole mixtape right now. I don't see how that would matter. But like, definitely, especially early on, anything I made that came out of Ableton, I was sending to every single person I knew. Just like, yo, check this out, you know? And then I started putting shit on SoundCloud, and then I stopped doing that, and it is kind of, it got easier. Like, I do kind of want to keep it secret, you know, because it'll be cool for people to hear it for the first time. Like I would send my parents everything, but they haven't heard any of this mixtape, you know, they have no idea.
I think one of the craziest parts about becoming serious about music is like wanting more people to see the final product. Like you want people to see the album art, and you want people to hear the complete final mastered versions.
Yes.
You want them to listen to it not as an audio file. You want them to listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music. Like you want that legitimacy, as well as you want the plays. Like
100%. And that's a good point too. Like now I've gotten to a point where like I don't want people to hear something that Dave hasn't touched yet. You know what I mean? That he hasn't like mixed and mastered yet. Or, you know, because like it does sound better when it's all said and done. It sounds way better. And like sending people, like I send you and Dave, and then my cousin.
Yeah.
Everything that comes out of Ableton. Those are the 3 people. And like, but mostly, other than that, like I would prefer people to hear it when it's done, you know?
Right.
I went through so when I was making my album, I went through a period of not showing anybody anything, and then like post album when I was working on shit, I was like, I'll send this here and I'll send this here, like see if people like this new stuff I'm working on. I think the biggest drawback to that for me is not even negative responses, but just a lack of response.
Yeah.
That is the worst feeling. Like when you send someone something, they don't say anything back, or they just say like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, dude, I like worked on this for like 5 hours last night, and that's cool. It's like I can't do anything with that. I might as well have just not have wasted the time downloading it and sending it to you.
Well, let me ask you this: like, how do you deal with? Because when I was sending people stuff, I would get feedback, what's the word?
Critical feedback.
Yeah, like constructive,
critiques. Yeah.
constructive criticism from people that have no idea what the software is, which is fine, but they would tell me that what they think what should change about it. Like, do you ever run into that?
Dude, 100%. And I think the funniest part about that is like the only reason you're telling me this is because you can't contact artists you actually like and tell them yourself.
Right.
Like that's fucking annoying.
It is annoying.
Like,
it
and
really
I can
is.
see like when artists get like bad responses like from fans or critics, like, oh my god, like I couldn't imagine being like a well-respected artist and then having something that people didn't like.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's kind of like, dude, fuck you. I did this whole thing myself, and then you aren't contributing anything by telling me that you don't like the reverb I put on it. The reverb was there for a reason.
Right. Or even like my favorite one is like, I think the bass should be better. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, like I used to get down on like, make this like louder or make it different. And like a big part of that for me that annoys me is like, I know if I knew how to do that, I would have. You know what I mean? Like, especially early on, I didn't know. People were like, change this. I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
That's why when people send me music, if I like it, like in general, like not like I like every single little part or like it's my favorite genre, but if I like it overall in general, I will tell them the specific things that I like about it and that I like it overall.
Yeah.
I rarely will respond like or even like go out of my way to talk to somebody whose music like I just don't really like. Like they made it and that's cool. Like, but if I don't like it, like I'm not gonna come back at them and be like, yeah, it's I don't like the bass.
Yeah, change this up,
Yeah.
try it again, send it to me. I'm like, no.
It'd be different if it was like you and you're my friend and we work on music together.
Right.
Or if it was like Dave and I'm like, hey, hey Dave, here's an idea.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
like when someone's just not contributing to like my growth at all, it's like, well, I'm not gonna fucking show you my music anymore. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of hard to ask for advice from someone who doesn't do the thing that you're doing.
Well, I don't know if I'm asking for advice. I think I'm just showing people, like, look what I did.
It's like the fat ass who's like sitting down watching every NFL game,
Yeah.
telling the quarterback like he's a piece of shit.
Throw the ball.
You can't play.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
bro, you haven't played since middle school. What the
Right.
fuck are you talking about?
Exactly.
There's a reason he's doing what he's doing is because he knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Right. But I also feel like I have been that close friend who's provided that like constructive criticism. Just understand or basing it off of like the music that I like or like past songs that maybe an individual has released that I like and use that as like a baseline so that
Yeah. I think it's different coming from you though. Like as anyone in this whole friend group, honestly.
I think another thing too, like with what you were saying, tell us about, just like I compare it to the music that I listen to, and that's like gonna be part of my like, you know, that's gonna help form my opinion on my critical response. The thing is like coming from that angle, you're listening to complete, final, mastered, you know, like products that a record company like paid for the most part.
Hmm.
And when I send people just like shit that I like whipped up like the night before or a previous couple nights before, and I export it as is, you know, limited mixing, and I sent it to someone, I'm looking for an overall, like, what do you feel about this vibe? Like, what do you feel about this song in general? I'm not looking for, like, the mixing sounds like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like,
Yeah,
the bass
okay.
drum needs to come out. Like,
Yeah.
no shit, the song's not fucking
It's
done.
yeah, they're like quiet
Like,
the
it's
snare.
unmixed, it's unmastered.
Right.
Like, I don't have the levels correct. It's still clipping. Like, leave me alone. Stop comparing this to Dr. Dre when I just fucking sent you demo 2 of this song.
Right, you want overall just feel. Not,
Yeah, exactly.
right.
I think people who don't make music don't understand that aspect
Exactly.
of it.
How
How many versions of Feel Alive did we make?
At least 15.
Yeah.
I'd say. I mean, I made that beat in May. It's on my SoundCloud. I should probably take it down, shouldn't I? But like, I mean, it started there, and then I think you heard it even in May. It was like, and wanted to like do something with it, and it wasn't until what, like end of July, end of
Yeah.
August that it finally came out, or like that our finished product came out. So yeah. And I always send you I'll send you guys the same song over and over again, but just with a 2 or 3 or 4 after it.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, I do the
Yeah.
same thing.
I think when I send stuff to you and Dave, I always, like, you guys are honest about it, you know,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
respect you guys' opinion. And, you know, Dave is always, he'll say what's on his mind. He'll be like, you know, which is good, you know.
Right.
Because I think people that are close to me, like my family, I think my brother one time said he's ran out of ways to say that's good. You know what I mean? Because I was
Yeah.
just sending him shit all the time.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Providing constructive criticism is hard because you don't want to especially when it's your friends, you don't want to discourage them. You don't want to completely shit on them. Like, this shit sucks. This is awful.
It can
Would
be
never-
good if it's coming from the right person.
If anything, sometimes it kind of makes me work harder,
I
depending
agree.
on who it is. Especially if it's people who I don't like a lot. Like, I know for a fact, like, my...
Why are you showing them your music if you don't like them?
Well, no, it's not that. It's more like my main homies who are around me, like, on the daily are always going to, like, support me and, like, give me honest feedback. But if it's, like, someone who, like, not necessarily, like, that I have beef with, but, like, someone who I just, like, maybe I have a difference of opinion, like, in general, like, with them, but, like, I still show them something. It's, like, if they don't like my shit, gives me a lot of motivation to be like, I'm going to make my shit so good that you can't not like it. Like, it's going to piss you off that you think it's good. That's my
Exactly.
goal, is to
Right.
make people upset how good my shit is.
It's just undeniably good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's
In a
like you're
way.
on the radio and they're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
That's like my ultimate goal.
Hey, success is the best revenge.
Hey, bro,
Come
I
on.
heard an artist one day say it was something to that effect. He was like, I go in and I freestyle in front of people, and I rate my freestyles based on like the interaction that I get from like the audience, and he says that sometimes like people are like, oh, that was cool, that was a good freestyle, but then other times when he's like popping off, he'll have people who do the like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
like do like the straight up like drop their jaw. That shit is crazy, man. Like, artists have the ability to just like pull reactions from people, and it's based on like personal relationships or just like through social media.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's crazy how like that is like the real life is intertwined with the music to like.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of the time too, like I'll make something and I'll think it's like okay, and then Dane will hear it and be like, oh, we got to use that, you know, like, or something that I'll be working on for so long, I'll be so annoyed with it because I've been working on it, and then he'll come in and be like, oh no, we need to use that.
Well, sometimes it's just a differentiation in and like outlook of what the song could be.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
you see it as like in this vacuum of like, well,
Basically.
this song is like this thing and it's only ever going to be this thing.
Yeah.
Then I hear it and I'm like, you know what? I know exactly the direction we can take this in.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, like fuck.
Yeah, no, I think still to this day, like the hardest like hip hop beat I made was the Beat for Money. Like,
Yeah.
I think that beat is like, it goes in. But like I made it, and it was, to me, I was like, well, I don't know what I would do with this. And then you heard it, and it was like, that night after you heard it, you recorded Money.
Yeah.
Like within hours of you
And
hearing it.
even hearing like your production and my vocals on that song, like even hearing that now, I know like fuck, we can like it's almost there, but none of it is quite where I know we are or / can be with it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I like that song a lot, though.
I
I think you did a really good job on those vocals.
Thanks,
honestly,
man.
it makes it like, it almost made like the feel of it. I love, honestly.
Yeah, it's a fun song.
It is a fun song.
Yeah, it definitely. I kind of like decided a little while back, like my shtick, like as an artist, is gonna be, kind of like delving into all the genres I like, and that's not necessarily like, the most. I guess that's not like the safest, path to hedge my bets on as far as like being a musician. But I think that's gonna be like my quirk. You know, like every musician has that thing that they do well. I think my thing is gonna be like a constant like change in genre and mood.
Yeah, I mean, I think you cover, like, even on your solo album, you covered a pretty wide genre, I'd say. But also I think that's important too for you, especially because you're like, in my eyes, you're the business guy. You know, you're taking care of it, and like you got to be open to all those different genres. You know, because like if someone who's really good in one genre comes along, you're not gonna be like, no, that doesn't fit our. You know?
And like, I'm just such a big fan of music in general, and like I'm such a music nerd as far as like looking up artists and bands and like
for
shit
sure.
like that, and like music videos and directors.
Yeah.
Like I'm such a nerd about that kind of stuff. Like it bothers me when someone knows an artist that I don't know, especially if it's in a genre like I listen to often.
Yeah.
Like that's besides the point, but like
Well,
that's why I want to delve into so many different genres, is because I'm such a big fan of so many different types of music.
And I mean, there's Feel Live, which is, it is what it is, and then I think a lot of the
That's the perfect description.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't like, what genre would you place that in? Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're singing on it.
Lo-fi.
It's not even. I don't even think you could say lo-fi, but like it's like that genre
driving at like late at night with like the street lights
with the windows open.
Exactly.
Our friend Justin said, he lives in Chicago. He said it sounds like movie scenes. I'm like, honestly, that's what I thought when I heard when I heard it.
And then the songs before that on the mixtape are like heavy in the bass. And then I also like last month I made some really funky tunes, like funk music. And then last night we recorded a screamo song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we did like a death grips sort of like scream tape that I
it's
did.
dope.
Yeah.
I was listening to it on my speakers. I was like, damn.
I want to hear what this sounds like in the mic. Ready?
Oh, that was loud. Oh shit. Are we allowed to swear on this? Are we swearing?
Yeah, dude.
We've been swearing this whole
We've been swearing a lot.
Have I been swearing?
Yeah, you've been swearing too.
Damn it. I'm just kidding.
I definitely started the trend, so my bad.
No, you're good, dude.
So, I was like kind of like, Tellus said something about, let's ask Connor about releasing his album like when we're there, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's a good idea. I was gonna like brainstorm some questions to ask you, and I thought of one, like, okay, so your album comes out on Friday, December 4th.
Yes.
Right, and it comes out at midnight. So what are your like, what are you excited about? What are you anxious about? Do you have hopes? Do you have like, are you scared? Like, what are your feelings right now?
I think the thing I'm most scared about or nervous about is that the release of it is too far after the release of Feel Alive. I don't think that's the case, but I think we were riding, like, we got 300 plays on that song the first day.
Yeah.
And I think people were into it, kind of, and I'm wondering if we're going to have that same sort of like, people
Well,
are people
I'm
gonna
gonna
listen
tell
to it.
you right now, just like with my album, we released the whole thing, right?
Mhm.
And it got a lot of plays all the way through, but there's no way an album in total is gonna get this like all
Yeah.
the way through plays just like a single would. So Feel Alive's definitely gonna be played more. Don't let it be discouraged if the album in total doesn't get as much plays. You know, or as
Yeah,
many
no,
plays.
I 100%, and I don't expect it to have the same sort of boom, or like at least like people continuing to listen. But one thing I am curious to see is like, so there's a few songs on it that I really like, and I'm really curious to see if people also, if they respond in the same way.
Right.
You know?
That's actually very interesting. Like, do you try to align like the type of music that you make with the type of music that people like to listen to?
Well, here's the thing, like, I don't really have a fan base, and so I don't really know who I'm reaching out to or what they want to hear. I'm just kind of making stuff as I see fit.
Right, but we just had like a little mini discussion on like how we are producing like all this different type of music, and we go across these different types of genres. Do you feel that maybe if you started to realize that like people start to respond to a specific genre that you mess with, like that you would focus more on that genre?
I don't know. That's a great question. I think I would. I mean, this is saying right now in this, like, currently, like, I think I would just keep doing what I'm doing. But I mean, I feel like if a certain song on the mixtape got like a certain amount of recognition or something, I think it would be dumb not to at least explore that avenue more. I don't think that's selling out per se. I think it's just exploring like a side of things. But you know, there's also there's songs on there that I don't really expect people to really, really love that I really like, you know, but I like it. So it's out there, you know. I don't know.
It's a weird thing about being an artist. It's like, you know, you want to be able to balance like, okay, what do I want to do versus what are people going to actually listen to?
Yeah, for sure.
Like it should definitely, like, the majority of the weight should be on what do I want to do.
Yeah.
However, you know, if you're someone who wants to release music, you like that would fall under, you know, the presupposition that I want people to listen to it if I'm going to release it. So therefore you have to have something that's listenable for the people you know are going to listen to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Until you get to a point as an artist where you're like, you know what, I've done everything that I can do. I'm going to make whatever I want. I don't care what anybody thinks of it. You know?
Right. Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I'm excited to see what people think of it, you know? I mean, like just last night, Rachel had listened to it, like a song for the first time, not to name drop. But it was funny. She was like, wait, this is actually kind of good. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I don't know. I didn't expect, you know, I played her, it was Pinch Punch that I like.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, and she listened to it and was like, wait, I really like that song. And I was like, well, good.
Yeah,
You know?
your album definitely has like the vibe of you could just kind of put it on in the car and just let it play through.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not gonna be like, oh fuck, I have to like super pay attention. What song is this? Like, what's the name? It's like very much like I could listen to the whole thing and just like have like a very enjoyable, satisfying like
An overall idea.
35 minutes of music or whatever.
Yeah, it's like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
It's super short. But I think the songs do kind of in a way like mix together in that way. I think there's a good flow to it, especially towards the end. I think like going into Feel Alive, because that's the last song. I think there's like a good segue into it, you know. And I think it really shows off like what we're doing.
Yeah.
In a way, you know.
Yeah.
And it's dope that I featured on your album and you're gonna feature on mine.
That was as soon as you like as soon as you sent me the beat for Feel Alive and you were already featured on my album, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I
it's a
feel
good
like
song.
I really want to be featured on this album now.
And I think it's a dope song to end the album, honestly.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. Or mixtape, whatever it is.
For anybody who's actually listening, this will be like a bonus piece of information for you. But Connor and I, TACYON and I, he made this beat and I rapped on it, and it was very much extremely.
It was explicit.
It was very explicit, extremely inappropriate, almost to the point where we're thinking like we probably shouldn't release it. But like, if there ever comes a point where, you know,
it doesn't matter.
We're successful enough to where like it doesn't matter like
Yeah.
what we say and put out there, then we probably will release it.
Well, you know what's funny? Like that beat for that song is my favorite beat I've ever made, and so I want to use it.
The beat's not on the mixtape, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, we took the whole song out, but I think, like, I listen to that beat every now and then. I'm like, damn, like it's pretty sick. So I do want to reuse it. I love that song, the one that we made, but you know, it was a lot.
Order more food, and I put it on my credit card. It's a green piece of shit from Huntington. Then we go back to my place and pop Goodwill hunting in.
Oh, that's just crazy. There's another line in that that's just like, oh, dude, it gets me every time. But I think, that beat is honestly my favorite that I've ever made. I want to reuse it.
Yeah.
But I want to also keep that song intact.
Yeah.
Sick.
So I think this is a question that I probably should have asked earlier, but I mean Mr. Dane G, that's just kind of like
Dane G.
That's easy to kind of like see how you came up with that one, but for TACYON, like where does that name come from? Like I've never even asked you this question.
Okay, it was a couple summers ago. In typical fashion, I get obsessed with things. In this case, it's Ableton and music. But if you look at this bookshelf right here, those are all physics books, like that I bought on my own and read. And a tachyon with an H, it's spelled with an H usually. Dane had the. Anyway, we'll get to that. But tachyon, TACYON, it's like a hypothetical particle that moves. It's not real, but it moves faster than light.
Oh.
And if you could move faster than light, you'd start moving backwards in time.
It's a hypothetical particle.
It's not real. I mean, nothing
like
can move faster than light.
Number.
Yeah. It's like there aren't things that move faster than light as far as we know. But if they could, it would be called a tachyon. And tachyons move faster than light and backwards in time.
Because if you're moving faster than light, then...
Oh, yeah. I forgot you and I used to talk about this
Yeah.
stuff.
So how do you wrap my brain around
The
it?
faster you move through space, the slower you move through time.
Yes.
And it gets to the point where when you reach the speed of light, like a photon, which moves at the speed of light, doesn't experience any time. It is ejected from the sun and gets to the planet or gets to Earth simultaneously. And if it could think, its experience would be it leaves the sun and then reaches the Earth. Whereas really to us there's an 8-minute gap between those two things. But to the photon it doesn't experience time. So if you could move faster than that, you would start moving backwards in time. It's trippy. I have a whole book on it.
That is crazy. That's like Superman like flying around.
Yeah,
the Earth
exactly.
backwards.
And so I was putting out music as tachyon.
If you moved faster than the speed of light, you would already have done the thing because the light.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like very
like
hard
if I
to-
sent you a message in tachyons, like how we send messages in like radio waves are light. That's a light wave. You can send someone a radio message. If I sent you a message in tachyons, you would get it before I sent it.
Before you sent it, yes.
We know that. We know
Oh
this stuff.
shoot.
Yeah. And
would-
another thing that him and I have talked about a lot, especially in reference to Albert Einstein, is time is more of like a place or a direction rather than it is like an experience.
I view it as a fourth directional or like spatial dimension almost.
Yeah, because if you think about time travel, it's like if I'm on the Earth at March 22nd at 11 a.m., then being on the Earth at March 22nd, the next following year at 3 p.m., like, and you teleport, like, you're going to be floating in space.
You're going to be floating in space.
How
exactly.
I kind of visualize it too is like when you stop Netflix, right? when you press pause
Yeah.
and it has all the scenes, like all the frames
Oh, yeah,
set up.
yeah.
You're seeing all those frames at the same time, but
Exactly.
those are all different times.
And if you
that's
stack
where,
those-
when, and in what time.
Exactly.
You know.
And if you were to stack those frames, you could call that the space-time continuum. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
and it's
just-
all one thing. It's not
Yeah.
like this is a different time than this.
right.
It's all one.
And going off that, like time to me, we're going down this crazy tangent. But anyway, like time, it's a dimension just like space is a dimension.
Yeah.
We live in, as far as I'm concerned, we live in 4 dimensions, whereas
Mm-hmm.
most people would say 3, right? Because you need you need 3 numbers to describe any point in space. But like, okay, what if I asked you like, let's meet at Starbucks tomorrow? What would your first question be?
What time?
What time? Or if I said, hey, let's meet at 10 a.m., you would say where, right? So you need all 4 of those numbers to like describe a point. So that's 4 dimensions as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that's where tachyon, and Dane had the brilliant idea of dropping the H, because there's 1.5 million tachyons on SoundCloud. There's only one tachyon, TACYON. That's this guy.
Dude, that stuff actually was like so crazy to me too. Like where if you're on like a app like Spotify or like Google Play, like YouTube Music, Apple Music, and you put it under the same artist name, like some of the apps will just like load your music underneath like their account.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Which like that's kind of whack, isn't it? Like how do they not like?
I mean, it would never happen to someone like Big Sean,
Right.
right? Like, or think about how many Drakes were there. Like, there's like millions of people are named Drake.
Yeah.
But how is he the only Drake?
Right. If Drake puts out a song, it's not going to be put under some dudes.
You know, eventually it just comes down to business deals, record deals, money.
Yeah.
You know, and like him and I, or all of us, like we're figuring out how to do this all ourselves. And for the most part, we've got it pretty right so far.
I think it's dope that we're
It's
doing it,
working
actually.
out fairly well.
Yeah.
You know, quality is continuing to increase, and that'll happen even more over time. But yeah, it's really weird nowadays being an independent musician, because you can fucking. It's not like, you know, my band's name's Black Sabbath and we're from Kansas, and I don't know about the other Black Sabbath from the UK.
Yeah.
You know, like how would I have ever heard of them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
How
think
would I
it's-
have ever heard another Dane G or another Dane? I just fucking look it up on Spotify and there's a Dane from whatever, Austin,
I think
Texas.
it's dope. Like, if you type in Dane G on Spotify, you're the first thing that comes up. I don't know if that's because I've been searching you.
I don't know if there are any other
That's what I'm
ones.
saying. Like, I don't think there are.
It's kind of like why I did it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was thinking like Dane Daniel. Well, it was obviously gonna be just Dane at first until I found out there was like 2,000 of them. So
Right. That's like a
Yeah.
name like Drake.
yeah,
And, okay, so, especially on SoundCloud, this is how I know nobody knows what a tachyon really is, because at this point, my SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/faster-than-light. That was available. Which means no one really knows what a tachyon is.
At least
you know?
no one on SoundCloud.
No one on SoundCloud, exactly. Like, the fact that faster than light was available, and that's what a tachyon is, like, come on.
I also think it's wild that nowadays you can have any name. It doesn't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some wild ass names out there that people have as musicians.
X
Yeah.
Ash.
Dude, what about
I love Death
what the
Grips and
fuck
shit.
is that? What the fuck's that band? It's just like it's like just a bunch of symbols. It's like a circle and then a parentheses. It's like
Yeah,
sun
yeah.
something. I don't know what.
No,
what
that's
the-
Elon Musk's son.
no, no, dude.
Yeah, that's so
Eli
true.
Musk's son. Oh Jesus Christ.
See, but that's probably got to be hard, though, because how do you tell people what to search?
Right.
You know? You
I don't know how bands like that get so famous.
Right. It must, if their music's that good, it must not matter, I guess. But, like, how do you tell, like, I mean,
I mean, I heard, you know, there's this famous quote. I forget who it's actually originally by. I've heard a few famous people say it. I think Steve-O actually said it once. I think that's where I heard it online. But it's like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Ooh,
right?
that's a good one.
So, like, some people get presented opportunities. Like, you getting presented an opportunity, that's an aspect of luck, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're prepared or not to, you know, seize that opportunity, that's where your individual hard work and talent come in.
Right. You're selling toilet paper like your whole life, and then the COVID pandemic comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm rich.
Yeah,
Why
you
I
just
tell
blow
you?
up.
Y'all laughed at me. Y'all laughed at me.
Or like even like hand sanitizer. Like I have hand sanitizer by companies I've never heard of before now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just what's the big one?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
No,
Big
but yeah,
sanitizer.
Yeah.
Good thing we started this COVID pandemic scene. Yeah. Now everybody's using our products.
That's a
we
good point.
we
though.
don't actually believe that the big hand sanitizer started COVID.
Okay, well we're over an hour. Can I send us out with an Albert Einstein quote?
Yeah.
More.
Well, after Taos.
Well,
I see that
I don't know. I feel like I didn't get all I wanted to get out of this interview.
Well, we can keep going.
I just wanted to understand like a little more about like how you've like documented like this whole process, like
Yeah.
like what kind of like content do you want to like produce from this, and are you gonna like maybe you didn't do enough this time? Do you have like notes that like you're gonna move forward with now, or just like?
Well, I think I'm lucky in the fact that I'm obsessed with my own home studio, which is what made that post possible. Is I've been since day one. I've been just when it was just my laptop. I've just been taking pictures of Ableton, and now I just document. Anytime I get a new piece of hardware, I take dope pictures of mine. It's a little conceited, I know, but like, and as far as that growth, I document it heavy. As far as like my music, I think the growth will just be seen over time, right?
Yeah.
That's shit I put
It's
out.
like all things.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Just like people will hear stuff from the beginning and then hear it later on. Is that kind of what you were asking?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, it's a content age. We're living in, like, you have to produce content. Because, like, you're always competing against the next guy who's always producing content.
Yeah. That's something that I think, like Dane pushes me to do, especially. Because I haven't been a huge like, this is the first artistic thing I've ever done. Like, music stuff. I've always been a science guy.
Right.
You know, two different sides of the brain, if you believe in that. And, Dane is always like, yo, you need to post on your social media. You need to promote. You need to put this out or do this, you know? And that's something that I've been learning for sure. And something I'm not great at. Like, I hit up Malloy every time I need to, I hit him up every time I want to post something, and he'll tell me what hashtags to put.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I will just post stuff straight out. Whereas in, like, the stuff that he does touch and, like, put hashtags on or, like, release at a certain time, they get more likes than my stuff that I just put out bare.
Yeah.
You know? So it is.
That's like, I mean, while we have this team of people, it's because everybody has, like, a thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But we need other talents in order to execute like our thing that we're doing. Like Malloy wouldn't have content if it weren't for us making videos and music.
Yeah.
But he wants to be the person that's helping release the content.
Exactly. That's why I like it so much. There's like, we have this huge group of friends. Everyone went to school for something different. Everyone's doing something different, but there's always a spot for them to help us.
It's a lot of times it's about the work you want to put in. The more work you want to put in, the more you're going to be a part of it, and the more that it's going to help all of us succeed.
Yeah,
Especially,
definitely.
especially if you're easy to work with.
Yeah, 100%.
So, going off of that, 2021 outlook.
Oh
What-
shit!
What do we got on our table?
Who wants to go for?
What's a feeling?
So as we start to close down this 2020 phase one, as we called it, I thought she's fine. She's just playing in the bag.
Millie's getting into stuff. That's my cat.
Yeah,
Sorry.
she's okay.
Continue.
All right. So as 2020 comes to an end, we are coming to an end of phase one, as kind of Dave and Connor and I have deemed it. It's phase one of Shit Show launch. So phase one consisted of, I guess I was maybe like phase point 0.0,
Yeah.
like my album release. But
Right.
phase one was, okay, we need to have Connor get some music out there. Okay, we need to start having some people drop a single, but for the most part, we need to get our social media up, and we need to filter people to our YouTube page. That's kind of like our whole plan of attack, is use our other social media and filter them to our YouTube page and kind of collect and I guess
Just create that network.
yeah, exactly. But just consolidate our views all in one place.
Yeah.
Consolidate our viewership.
Mhm.
Like, this is where we will be, and that's our YouTube page. And we have like I don't know. We have maybe like 7 videos up already, 7 or 8 videos, and we're seeing like consistent feedback, and we're seeing consistent views, and it's not like we're receiving tens of thousands or millions of views each video. But what is nice is that I'm getting contacted by people regularly that are returning viewers, which is like a huge thing.
Yeah,
so
that
we're
is huge.
Yeah, we're ending phase 1 with an audience. We have our couple of live performance series. We have our music that Connor and I have put out so far.
Yep.
So phase 2 is we are producing 2 other artists. And I don't want to talk too much about who those artists are, what they're doing, until those projects come to like a closer close.
Yeah.
So we're working on 2 other artists' music. We're doing 3-song EPs for them. We are going to start a longer live performance series where bands and artists can play their own music in like a 15 to 30 minute live performance series. We're also, this podcast is kind of maybe part of phase 2 for 2021, as well as working on a skit show and an interview show for local artists. The interview show is going to be a real big one for us.
So would you say that you're like trying to broaden the spectrum of different kind of projects that you work on? You would say that's true?
Yeah, I think with each phase, we're kind of adding steps that can increase our viewership or our fan base in general.
And can I just say, like, I like being part of like the shit show group, like it's cool, it's like I like being a part of that. Whereas like I like the idea of when people hear TACYON, they think of Shit Show Studios.
Yeah.
I like that. I think it's cool like to have like this group. I think it's really growing.
Yeah, and like long term, like I want us to I want us to be able to like go on tour together, and I want like our videographers and photographers to be our friends, and I want the people on stage with us to be our friends, and the people featured in songs with us to be our friends. I think that creates a more genuine, just like feel for like what we're doing.
What about Dane G music? What can we expect?
Hey, I haven't really talked to anybody about this, but I do have some plans.
Nice.
There's one single that I have that's completely done. It's called So Lost, and we're working with Dave on just mastering that right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's a really, really fun song. I'm really excited to release it. But I'm also going to do hopefully 2, but definitely 1. Hopefully 2 EPs from 4 to 5 songs each. One is going to be an indie / acoustic singer-songwriter EP, which is actually I already have the songs all written, all the good instruments all written. It's something I've had for a really long time. A lot of people that listen to my music, or like a lot of friends, they already know a lot of those songs that will be on that album. I'm also working on we just gotta.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, look at this cat, dude.
She won't stop.
She's pushing all of these items towards the edge of the bookshelf as if to say, "Fuck your podcast!
Well,
I'm about to push all this shit off the bookshelf."
That's why I never keep anything. I can never keep anything up there, because if I do, she jumps up there and just pushes it off.
Oh my
It's
god!
insane. Sorry to interrupt. I should probably grab that.
That is fantastic. Dude,
So-
too bad we don't have the video on this.
Yeah, I wish we had the video camera on that.
Should we just film it now?
Look at her nose.
We'll put it on the Instagram story.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I have that singer-songwriter EP, and that's all completely written and done. All I need to do is record the songs. That's gonna be called On the Cusp of Young, because like I'm kind of young, but I'm also getting old. And the second one, because we were talking earlier about how I'm gonna be a kind of a jack of all genres.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is going to be my first attempt at doing a hardcore project by myself. Like I've been in post-hardcore and hardcore bands, but I've never before like written a full album by myself. I'll probably have a lot of musician features on that.
Yeah.
Like Dave will probably play drums on it,
Yeah,
and maybe my drummer Ben will play drums. I'll probably maybe have a guitar player or two, throw some solos in that I can't necessarily play.
Wish I played an instrument so I could feature.
But I mean, I already have a track.
Taking those
like,
piano lessons.
Well, I gotta say, Dan, I've heard some music that you've been recently.
I already have a demo track of some of those hardcore songs. I have one demo track done, and it's pretty fucking heavy.
I mean, the stuff that you were playing for me last night was crazy good. I loved it.
Oh, when I was on the keyboard?
You were even yeah, that was sick. And then the stuff before that, like right when I got there, I was like blown away by it. Honestly, not to like stroke your ego, but it was sick.
It's a big goodie bag, guys.
Was that too much?
2021 is a big goodie bag.
Yeah, 2021 is really, that's kind of when I wanted to start releasing projects, but like we're releasing Connor's like before that, obviously, because I want to get his out, kind of like I got mine out in 2020.
Okay, so to get a little more into strategy, and this would be my last question, but more music or better music?
I think both. What do you think, Dane?
As I put sushi in my mouth. Here's what I think about that. I've been around a lot of musicians who are afraid to release music because they don't think it's good enough. And maybe it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe it's not as professional as it could be. But, you know, at the end of the day with music, you're just taking a wave and you're just making sounds in patterns.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, fucking put it out. If you want people to hear your music, fucking put it out.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You can only get better. You can't get worse, you know, until you're like old as fuck or something, you have lung cancer and you can't sing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people get too scared to be like, I want my thing to be like the most professional thing anyone's ever seen. Well, guess what? No one's like that.
No.
No one's like that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, like Drake puts things out that always aren't produced perfectly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think people should stop being fucking afraid to put shit out. Like, sure, like maybe like look into how to promote it correctly, but don't be afraid to put your shit out if you want to put it out.
One thing I've learned, especially with working with you, is like, it's all about the promotion, really.
It really is.
It's how you promote it and how you get so people. You don't want people stumbling on it. You want people to hear about it, anticipate it, and then listen to it.
Yeah.
I think. Again,
But,
I don't know.
I mean, going along with what you asked, though, our goal is, like I said, we don't want to be afraid to put stuff out. We don't want to not put stuff out because we're afraid it's not good enough. However, each time we do put something out, the next thing we put out is going to be even better.
It's going to be better. I
Higher
agree.
quality each time.
Every time I hear, like, any new stuff that's rolling out, I think is already better than the stuff that we've already put out.
Yeah.
You know, already.
And why is that? Is that because of the like fan feedback?
No, I think we're just learning.
Time. I think it's time. I think it's dedication to what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, so I would have like my question then, my follow-up question to that would be, would you rather than, I mean, I kind of feel like I have a sense of what your answer is going to be, but would you rather like work on a song and spend time like adjusting that song to like get it to like a higher level, or would you spend that same time working on 3 songs to like you know get the same not have the same depth of like detail that you put into the work, but have like maybe 3 different looks so you can kind of like gauge a response?
Can I give my point of view on this?
Yeah, for sure.
I think, like, where we're at now, at least, like, I kind of have an idea, like, when I make something, I kind of have an idea whether or not it should go on, right? And so, like, if there's a song that I think is dope, or, like, it's really good, I think, like, yeah, we'll put the work in, at least from my point of view. But there's stuff that I make all the time that I'm like, this really, like, I'll save it, I won't delete it, and maybe come back to it later. But, like, I'll kind of, like, from the get-go, just kind of be like, I don't know about that. And then just kind of, like, push it aside and work on something else. Whereas I think, like, if you spend so much time heavily crafting one song, you're just going to get bogged down. I don't know, you could feel differently, Dane, but...
I also think, I mean, there's a few things in there that I could kind of work with, but, like, if you, like, dedicate your time to, like, working on, like, this one song, like, only this one song, there's a chance that you fuck around with it so much that it comes out on the other side being something that you didn't even necessarily want to make in the first place.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
and you've heard it so much, and you've fucked with it so much, and you've edited it and mixed it so much that by the time it's out there, it's almost just like overdone. You try to make it so perfect that it got to a point where it's like so complex that it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, and my thing, me working on music, it comes from, I want to say inspiration, but I think a lot of inspiration comes from like inspiring myself. Like
Yeah.
if I'm just like fucking around on guitar, like I just picked it up because it was in my room and I was just like sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I'll like, play a few riffs right now, occupy my time. All of a sudden that turns into like an hour and a half writing session. I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, like this is so sick. And I just keep going and going and going.
Right.
And I guess where you and I are both coming from with this is like, you have to A, let it happen naturally, and probably B, just be willing to dedicate time to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a good point to stop. Dropping knowledge. You guys got like social media handles that you want to share with the people?
Before we do that, can we actually talk about your album and the release?
Yeah. So my debut album, mixtape, whatever you want to call it, Tell Your Friends by TACYON, comes out this Friday, December 4th.
What kind of
2020.
music will we be hearing?
You're going to hear a wide range. I mean, most of it is just ice cold bass music that I made in my bedroom, honestly.
And our goal with that is to have a live streaming link where TACYON will be able to play his music, or just like, be able to have like some sort of like virtual release session where he's playing it and we're all listening, and it'll be on a Friday, have a little party. We can all be drinking in our own
Virtual.
respective houses.
Yeah.
Virtual party. Yeah. So that'll be something really fun that we want to do.
I don't know when this is going to come out, this podcast, but it's different than Feel Alive, I'd say.
Yeah.
Most of it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a different feel. Alive. Right, just kidding. But
right.
no, I'm excited for it. I'm pumped. This Friday. Thursday night at midnight, right?
Yeah, Thursday at midnight. Can I play us out on the synth?
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah. Here we go. Can I hear myself or no?